In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the starter on this Honda Accord with the 3.5 liter engine. Located at the front of your engine right below the battery, so let's get started. Let's disconnect the battery. Use a 10mm wrench or socket and loosen up the mounting nut on the negative terminal. And once you've done that, you can pull it right off. Set it aside. Do the same on the positive. Looks like I have some corrosion to clean up over here. Set that aside. Now use a deep 10mm socket and remove the two mounting nuts holding the J-hooks on for the battery hold down. Wiggle them and twist them, and they should pop out of their area that they're hooked into. Remove the hold down. Remove this plastic piece that goes around the battery, and remove the battery. You can also remove the battery tray now. And with that plastic tray removed, you'll see the metal battery tray, and below it there are some fasteners that we need to remove, starting with this one right here. This is a 10mm fastener that holds the air duct in place, but it also goes through the battery tray. So we have to remove it. Take that out and set it aside safely. A little bit further in, you'll see two 12mm mounting bolts, this one here and that one right there. And in an attempt to give my arms a little bit more space, I'm going to remove this air intake ducting here. Now it's supposed to have 3 push clips. All 3 of mine are broken, so I can just lift it right up. However, I will be reinstalling and replacing them, of course, when I put this back together. To get to these bolts, it's actually easiest if you can reach them from underneath. I have my swivel head ratchet that I'm going to use with a 12mm socket and break these free. This is about as far as you need to go with them. You don't need to remove them, you just need to loosen them up. This air duct will be in your way, so push it, get your socket on there, break this free. All right. Back up top, two 12mm bolts up here. Loosen both of these up and remove them as well. Last but not least, there's a 10mm bolt here that goes through the air box. Remove that. The bolt itself won't come out, but you need to unbolt it from the battery tray. Now you can lift this up and out. Now to get better access to the starter, we're going to move this lower radiator hose off of its bracket and out of the way like this, and then we can see the wires for the starter. I'm going to use a bungee cord and just keep this out of the way like that. Lift up this boot for the main starter wire, use a 12mm socket, break free this mounting nut. Once it's broken free, you should be able to remove it by hand. Set it aside. Now you can remove this wire. Inspect this wire for corrosion. Mine looks very clean, but sometimes they do get corroded, in which case you'd want to sand it down. Right behind this bracket, you'll see the signal wire for the starter. Press on the tab on the top and disconnect it. Set that aside as well. Now there are two 14mm bolts we need to remove. This one right here and that one right there. You're going to need a long extension to get to those. Once you're on them, break them free. I ended up using my long 1/2-inch ratchet to break those free because they were fairly tight. Now just take them out the rest of the way. And there's the lower one. Both bolts are the same, no need to keep them separate. Now take the starter, pull it away. Make sure you turn it so it can clear this bracket. There's some wiring below it. And there it is. With a wire brush, I'm going to clean the area, making sure that there's no debris or corrosion where the starter mounts. Wipe things off with a rag. When it comes to the new starter, I'm going to take this gasket that fell off of the old starter for me. Sometimes they get stuck on there, and I'm going to place it right over the new starter. And take the starter, slide it back in. It's got 2 dowel pins that will help you line it up. There it goes. Hold it so that it doesn't fall down and start the bolts in, whichever one you can reach first. This lower one has to go through a little bracket that holds on some wiring, so make sure that that happens and it doesn't go next to it. And now just start bottoming them out. All right, that one's bottomed out. .33 foot-pounds is the torque for both of these bolts. That's one. And two. Remove the mounting nut from the new starter. Resecure the signal wire. Make sure that clicks. Take that main power wire, double check it again for any corrosion. Once again, mine is clean. Drop it down and install the mounting nut. Once it gets snug, give it just a little extra. You don't want to break that stud in the alternator. And put the boot back over. Make sure it's fully seated. There we go. Release the bungee cord if you had one holding on this hose. And clip it back in its retainer. Bring the battery tray in, line it up. Make sure it goes over the two bolts on the bottom. It is slotted, so it just needs to slide in. Lift up the air box if needed. Start in the two bolts up top. And snug them up. Torque these to 16 foot-pounds. Let's put the air box back in its spot. Make sure it gets seated on the intake tubing. And drop this bolt down, start it in, snug this up. You don't need to make that one very tight, just snug. Now back underneath, let's tighten up the two bolts holding the tray. .16 foot-pounds applies to these as well. However, I won't be able to torque them just because of the space limitations. So with a long ratchet, I'm just going to make sure they're nice and tight. Don't forget to tighten up this 10mm bolt now that goes through the air duct. Just make it nice and snug. Drop down the plastic tray and drop the battery in. Don't forget about the plastic shield that goes around it. With this on, let's put the battery hold down in place. Make sure that you have the longer hook on the front and the shorter hook on the rear of the battery. Just hook them on to their corresponding slots. If you look right next to the battery, you'll see where it attaches to that white tray underneath. Hold this and tighten down the mounting nuts, but make sure you don't pinch your fingers. You just want to go until it touches the battery and prevents it from moving around. You don't want to crush the battery. There we go. Perfect. Reattach the positive terminal, clean any corrosion that might be on it. Make sure it's seated all the way down and use that 10mm socket to tighten it up. Make it snug and then make sure it doesn't spin. If it doesn't spin, that's plenty tight. And if you have one of these caps, put that on. Let's reconnect the negative battery terminal. Watch for any sparks that might happen. There we go. Make sure it's fully seated. And once again, 10mm socket, snug it up. Once it's snug enough, it shouldn't spin. That's where you want to stop tightening this. Let's put this intake piece back in. Make sure it lines up on the bottom. And I replaced all the push clips. I'm going to make sure they slide into their holes. And I'm going to lock them in with the center part. Now start it up, make sure everything works, and there you have it, job is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. the only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.